We have our next question which says the question will ask you to provide a line of missing code given the following dataset labs. So there are a dataset called labs is being given and the output which is desired is given, and let me zoom in this a little. So I am sure that this may not be clear, but I will try to explain this verbally. So we have a dataset called labs which has subject ID variable, sample date, the value, and a variable named lab test to indicate which lab test the result belongs to. And in this, the output, it looks to be transposed such that the results are presented as columns and the names of the newly created columns are used from the values present in lab test variable. So we have the proc transpose code which says data is equal to labs, which means use the labs dataset as input, and it says LBSTRAN, so labs transposed dataset is being created out of this proc transpose, and it says by subj ID and sample date. So which means the values in subj ID and sample date will remain as rows, and the var statement has the variable value specified in it, which means the values in variable will be restructured as columns. And it says insert the code here. And the question is which statement completes the program to produce the desired output. So we have a missing line of code that we need to find out based on the input given and the output given with this with this piece of code. So if you see, the names of the newly created columns are being used from the values in lab test variable. So we know that from proc transpose syntax that the we can use the values present in a variable as the names of the newly created variables, and that can be done by making use of the variable on an ID statement. So effectively we are looking for a line of code which is related to ID statement with a variable lab test specified on it. So we have our first option, which is what we are looking for. But before concluding that this is the correct answer, let us see the other options. So the second statement says value lab test. I, as far as I remember, there is no statement called value statement in within a proc transpose. So this could be syntactically wrong. And the third option says ID followed by the variable value. But the names of the newly created columns were from the lab test variable, so it ID statement must have the variable which is lab test. So this is not the correct answer. And then finally the copy statement is present on the final option. Copy statement is actually used for specifying a list of variables that you want to retain as is in the transpose data set. So this is not also the correct answer. So the correct answer is option 1. Let us see if that is correct or not. So it says our response is correct.